Sir, thank you very much for highlighting certain things, certain issues and first of all, you mentioned about Tata can do it and some others cannot, and they try to copy it or try to inspire from them, but they fail. The most important reason is to embed the values of the company into each and every employee, right from the chairman to the lowest employee. That values has to be embedded. Second, of course, the very clear and defined charter has to be there in the company, where about all the do's and don'ts are mentioned. Third is that every company has what it's our general observation that the company creates a very good vision and mission statement, but later on it is gathering dust. Many a time it is put on a copper plate, but hardly anyone remembers this. So I know certain companies in Europe, they every employee has to, when he comes in the morning, he has to write handwritten mission and vision statement every morning. So it is embedded within him. Then it creates culture and value. So it's like when you talk about Marriott, it's a culture. When you talk about Tata, it's a culture. So it doesn't happen overnight. So it has to be embedded, and it is also aligned with the induction process. So it's the HR also make sure that okay, HR dealing with Tata will make sure that okay, this kind of breed will work in Tata and this breed will not work in Tata. So they only ensure this and put it forward. Another thing, I'd like to share one story, which recently, India President Ms. Mamta was there in Dubai, and she said a very good story on the CS part and the bitterness or irritation. What you said about if you're too strict, then your board becomes irritated. About this. She said about one story of a father and daughter when they went into the market, and the father said that he would like to have some apples, and the daughter said yes, and they bought 2 apples. Now the daughter was holding 2 apples in her hand, and after buying those 2 apples, the father said, "Can you give me 1 apple from this?" So the daughter, took a bite on both the apples. So the father, on a flick of a second, she said that what went wrong into her, why she became so desperate of having both the apples and not sharing one, and was there any wrong in my upbringing, so she behaved like this. Then after a second the daughter said that Papa, take this one, this is more sweeter than the other one. So so that may look bitter in the beginning, but that the CS gives that sweet apple to the board and to the management, where it reflects the values and the sustainability, of course. So this is my summation on your thing. Maybe the panelists want to think.
I would like to reply to your I think so next query or question, that you cannot insist upon your promoters to do or to follow certain compliances, right? Now there is always a ways and means. If you see Gujarat promoters, they are always driven by profits. Now, what you need to do, I'm not really advising you, but this is a scenario which I would like to try. If my promoters are very restrained about following certain practices, every process has got some outcome, and if you don't do it, then there are some red marks. You have to successfully put across that if you do, then these are the advantages. If you don't do, then these are long-term disadvantages and threats. You have to clear-cut define this. And to do this, how to do it? Every year, like probably by January, February, everyone is involved into budgeting exercise. So you can also budget out your processes as to if you are supposed to do 20 different compliances, different 20 authorities in a different span of time, then you will jot down those processes and cost involved into it and involvement. Once it is defined and approved, probably then every day you do not to go to your chairman and directors for the approvals. You need to simply say that no, this is actually, I'm not the CS, so I would not put forth the exact process as to what they need to do, how are they going to be involved. Right? Second thing, I fully agree to Dr. Mustafa that value system has to be very, very strong. What normally used to do, then we are very fond of shortcuts. Everyone, we take overtake from left hand side, we don't stop at signal. Similarly, when promoter asks you, is there any way out? Then 90% of people, to please your promoter, will always say, yes, there is a shortcut, sir. Right? So what is happening? Due to these shortcuts, you are confiscating the scope of another person from your fraternity to join you.
Yes.
Because you are doing shortcuts, so many such tasks are not done, and single person cannot do a lot of things, right? If you say no, there is no shortcut, then it will create space for others to come in and work on those profiles. So you have to build very strong value system within your organization, as doctor said, right from chairman, that certain thing needs to be done, irrespective of anything. And I earlier said in my conversation that the government is becoming stringent, and the government will not left any stone unturned to make you follow all the compliances. Gone are those days you will have shortcuts. Even if you wish to do it, I'm repeating it, even if you wish to do it, you won't be able to do it. It will be all driven by your systems and IT processes and so forth.
Sorry, I'd like to add a couple of things which reminds me now. I had seen the interview of Mr. J.R.D. Tata. It was in early 80s, and one of his interview he said that we would have been 3 times bigger than what we are now if we would have kept our ethics aside. But we chose to be like this. So it's not becoming big. It's becoming more ethical and more like a brand. So that's where the ethics part is being taken care by the CS. Now my request to the CS institute, which is over here, to make the CS role more vibrant in the company. All the JDs has to be clearly defined, and see where we are talking about compliances. Compliances are that you should be doing this, and not doing this is a violation. So so the person has to know his do's and don'ts. So every person in the company, his JD has to be very defined, and it has to be repeated. We all are like the toys. Chavi wala ramakda se apne. So we need to be rewinded again and again. So this JD has to be defined at a certain interval, and has to be keep reminding them. I'll tell you a very very important, very good story which I learned in my PhD when I did, because I was studying all the great leaders of the world when I did my PhD on leadership, and I came across one story in NASA that just before the assassination of JFK, when he visited NASA for the inspection on the project of mission on moon, which he initiated in early 60s and which was achieved in late 60s. So when he went to visit NASA, he saw one sweeper, sweeping the floor. He was mopping the floor, and he asked JFK asked him that, what are you doing over here? So his answer can be written in the golden words. He said that, sir, I am helping sending men on moon. So every work of every individual, may it be a sweeper or may it be a chairman, has to be aligned. So that alignment can, a CS can play a very important role in aligning those. By aligning this, the irregularities and violations will be minimized. Of course, we are the corporates, however vigilant or they can be, certain minor this thing happens, but that can be minimized if not zero. So that, and by doing this, and I'm sure every company, every corporate has a scope to become a benchmark of Tata, has a scope, but it's all depends on how much they adhere to it, how much they practice to it. And that's why what the gentleman said, that the compliance officers of the government, they were least interested in visiting, not because of any other reason, because of their interest and trust in the corporation, that they are so ethical that they do their due diligence and they do their compliances so well that we don't need to go and investigate or visit them or question them. So every corporate has a potential to become that, and in that process I'm sure that CS position plays a very very vital and important in this. So maybe they are a director which doesn't come on the screen of the movie, but they are when the best picture award is there, the director goes and take it. So that best company award can also be received by a CS in the company. With that note, of course, I wish and all the best for the CS Institute for inviting me today on this.